in the cloud, so it'll be easier to. Um, so, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to this special edition of Ask the Nanny. Today, I have with me my good friend Sue Atkins. She is a parenting expert for Disney Junior in the UK. This morning's segment is called Ask Sue, the Parenting Guru.
I like that.
So we're going to talk this morning about what happens when children prefer the nanny over the parents. There's always one parent that's always the favorite, but what happens when the nanny becomes the favorite over both of the parents? So that's what we're going to talk about this morning. So, good morning, Sue. How are you?
Good morning. Greetings from London. Lovely to talk with you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure having you. So, I read your blog about what happens when a child prefers one parent to another. And I asked you the question, well, what happens when they prefer the nanny to both the parents? And it got me to thinking, this is not just my problem. I know there are a lot of great nannies out there that have the same problem. And this is something that we need to discuss. So here we are. We're discussing it. So tell us, could it be that we spend most of the child's waking hours, like most nannies work between 8 to 12 hours a day, and that's just the live out nannies. The live in nannies are there consistently and they see them throughout the night or before they go to bed. So could it be that we spend most of our waking hours, their waking hours with them, why they prefer the nanny?
It's such an interesting question, because I was sent in on my podcast. I do a Don't Stew, Ask Sue fairly recently, and someone sent me in something similar about their 9-month-old bonding so strongly with the nanny that in the night he cries for her. So I then wrote another article actually called What Should I Do If My Child is More Attached to their nanny than to me? So if people are interested, they can go to my blog and they can just find that. It's up there a couple of days ago and you can Google it and find it. Because children get attached to whoever is caring for them, loving with them, and with them for a long period of time, because children don't have a top 10 list of, who's at the top. Oh no, she said something not very nice to me today. She slipped a fourth. I mean, children are not that sophisticated, or wouldn't be that way inclined. They love whoever's patient with them, kind with them, consistent with them. So it makes sense that if the nanny is with them for a long period of time throughout the day and around the evening, they are naturally going to go, because they're spending a lot of time with the nanny, towards the nanny. If mum or dad are working full time and they're home for a few hours in the evening. Now, that doesn't mean that the mum and dad don't love the child any less, but they just have different management of time. And I think it's helpful for the parents to actually start to think that they've chosen such a wonderful nanny. They've got that right, because as we know, it doesn't always work out so smoothly, that they've really got a really fantastic nanny that their child feels safe with, feels secure with, and feels loved with. So actually, rather than being jealous of the nanny, they should be sort of grateful and thanking the universe or whoever they want to thank. They got it right. The choice is obviously a good one.
Yes, I think so too. And I think it's a wonderful bond, that it's another person for your child to love and bond with. And because they have that special bond, you know that your child is not miserable all day and they are having fun. They are being loved and cared for. And just like you said, it's a incredible bond, and they got it right.
Yeah.
Now, my question is, I was listening to a live webinar from the U.S. Nanny Association last night about a live-in nanny. And because they are live-in, like I said, they see the live-in nanny when she comes downstairs to go to the refrigerator, if she's up in the morning when they, getting her something to eat in the kitchen, when they're getting ready to go to school, even though she may not be on duty,
Okay, yeah.
they see her, and of course they want to, let's go, run the nanny, let's go do this. And um, one of the parents, Liz, who's a parent, she said, we had a 2-minute rule that if the nanny is not on duty, then she takes out 2 minutes. Okay, let's go see this. She'll answer your question, but after the 2 minutes, she disappears. And they were consistent with that 2-minute rule. And because of the consistency, the kids got it.
That
And
is interesting, isn't it? That's very practical. There's a really great solution, actually, without being hurtful or being angry or anything like that. Because obviously, the relationship between the nanny and the parent, they're working it out together, because you've got to work as a team, haven't you?
right.
And the child doesn't know suddenly you've clocked on or you've clocked off. And certainly, if you're a live-in nanny, you are an extended person in the family, and children don't see you as suddenly a person that is being employed. So that's a great solution. I think that's a very practical one. I think people listening to this, if they tried that, or spoke to a parent about, perhaps we could have a bit of a conversation around how we handle it, then of course then you'll find your own way of doing it. But that's certainly a brilliant one, isn't it?
Yes, I like that 2-minute rule, because it's a courtesy to the nanny. We respect your time because you're off.
Yeah.
And it's a courtesy to the child of, I'm not ignoring you, and I'm not just gonna not talk to you because I'm standing here, but at the same time, that I'm not gonna be here for an extended period of time. You got 2 minutes, and then, but it takes communication, like you said, between the parent and the nanny to have these boundaries set up. And that's another important thing, a point to make about boundaries. That 2-minute rule puts boundaries around the time that this is my off time, but I will give you my 2 minutes, which means that, I know that your child wants to extend that playtime and it wants to extend that conversation, but the parents need to be able to live within those boundaries too. And once those boundaries are set, they need to support those boundaries.
Yeah. And like everything, you need to be adaptable and flexible, and perhaps revisit those structures that you've set up as the child grows. So, what you set up today may not be okay in a year's time, or even 3 months' time. You've got to be sensible and then revisit them and say, look, actually now things have changed. All sorts of circumstances can change. What do you think we can do to make this work now? So, it's a constant. It never stays exactly the same. It's a constantly kind of updating thing, isn't it? To kind of keep it working for both parties.
Right. And I also feel that communication is key.
Absolutely.
Because if you're not constantly communicating, the parent and the nanny, when I say communication, if the children see you all communicating and you all solving problems and working it out, it's a role model for them to talk about it and solve problems. And when I say talk about it, I mean children who are old enough to understand. And 2 and 3-year-olds, sometimes they get it. And even if they get it, you still have to remember that they're 2 or 3 years old.
Yeah.
And if they're having a bad day, I don't care what you say. I'm going to throw that temper tantrum. I'm going to fall out on the floor. I want my way. That's it. If I'm tired, I want my way. If I'm hungry, I want my way. So it depends on, you can talk until you're blue in the face, but if they are not in the mood for hearing it, then you can hang it up, even if they understand what you're trying to tell them.
Yeah.
So I know I've had children that I hate it when there's a temper tantrum at the end of the day when I get ready to leave and mom's coming home and that's what she comes home to. It's fine for as long as I'm there, and a minute before I leave and the child recognizes she has her coat on, she has her
Yeah.
bag, she has her purse, she's getting ready to leave me. What? So yeah, I hate leaving parents with a screaming temper tantrum.
So tell me this: is there anything that you lead up to? What sort of practical things can you do to give? It's almost like when a child. I had a question from on my podcast about when they were leaving the ball pond. You know, when they go to the indoor play area,
Right.
and Mum says, "Right, it's time to go get your coat." And the child, of course, just went into a meltdown because she didn't give the child kind of notice that it was going to come. It was going to sort of happen. Not a yellow card, but this idea of, oh, don't forget now in 5 minutes time, although a child doesn't understand the 5 minutes, but yet there is this kind of getting them prepared. I mean, what do you suggest around that?
That was my next point.
Yeah.
Create a routine,
Yes.
a leaving routine, and stick with it.
Yeah.
Give, just as you will with any other transition throughout the day.
Yeah.
When you say, okay, we're leaving in 5 minutes, it prepares their mind. Okay, let me hurry up and finish what I'm doing. And I always do 5 minutes. I don't care if it's 30 seconds that we're leaving. They don't know, have a sense of time. Oh, we got to be gone in 2 minutes. I was like, okay, you got 5 minutes. When they hear 5 minutes, it's more than two, because when I consistently do that countdown, and 30 seconds later, I may say, okay, you got 4 minutes. And it may be 15 or 20 seconds later, and I say, okay, you got 3 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
It prepares their mind that we're getting ready to leave.
Change. Yeah.
And if you're consistent about that routine and consistent about giving them time to prepare themselves for this new transition to happen, then most of the time it goes much smoother than I'm getting ready to go. It's time to go.
It's too
abrupt. Let's go.
Yeah, it's too abrupt for them, isn't it?
Right. They're not adults and they can switch on the drop of a dime. And so, and I say that jokingly because some adults can't switch on a drop of a dime. They need time to process it.
Yeah.
And while they are processing it, it takes time for them to okay, it's just like waking up in the morning. If you're not a morning person, you're like, okay, let me stretch. All right, my eyes are still closed, but I'm stretching. Oh, I don't want to open my eyes. And I open my eyes. Oh, the light is too bright. Okay, let me adjust. So it takes time for your brain to adjust that I need to get up out of the bed. The alarm has gone off 4 times. I've hit the snooze button. So it takes time to adjust to some things, the transition.
But also, what can the parent do in that situation? Because they come in, you want to transition to something lovely that they're doing, not nagging. I often suggest then when parents come home, so, this is the story time, or this is when we play with the blocks, or we do something together, so that the transition is, well, Nanny is going, but we're doing something lovely, not just eat your broccoli and hold your knife and fork properly, otherwise that's depressing. So it's got to be compelling and lovely. And I know when Mum or Dad comes home, they are tired, obviously, if they've rushed back on the train and they've had a busy day at work. But if they are prepared to transition into having a lovely experience with their child, then that will ease the transition, surely.
I suggest to my parents, when they've had a rough day, listen to something that's funny on the way home. Listen to a podcast, listen to music, something that's going to put you in a better mood than when you left and you were angry because so-and-so didn't get that report to you on time, so therefore you're late and all this other stuff and everything else that's in the rest of your day. Don't bring that home. Don't bring home that baggage to your child. Yeah. Because your child, in order for your child to be excited about seeing you, or should I say more excited, because it's not that they're not excited about seeing you, to be more excited, if you come home with a frown on your face and and huffing and okay, whatever, I'll talk to you about that later, that kind of just pushes them away.
Yeah, and it doesn't set a very nice tone for the home, does it?
No, because okay, Dad's grumpy, I had one family, um, the kids were like 7 or 8 years old. And when mom or dad came home, and they were grumpy, the kids, I would hear the kids whispering to each other, the natives are restless. And I was like, what the heck are you all talking about? So one day they let me in on the secret when that was their code word for be quiet, be unseen, stay out of the way, and let them calm down, and then go talk to them. Don't run and rush and to mom and dad first thing at the door. Mom, can I do this? Mom, can I do that? Can I have this? Can I have that? Because most kids do that. Can I have, especially if they're over the age of 4 or 5 and they want to do something. Mama, can I do? Can I do? Can I do? Can I do? Can I have? Because most of the time nannies see things differently than parents see things. We know, okay, there's a safety issue there, and that's why we won't let you do certain things. But as soon as mom and dad gets home, oh, mom and dad's gonna let us do this. Let's go ask mom and dad. So if they're bum rushing you at the front door, you need to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
So I suggest the music, the comedy, something that's going to lift your mood, lift your spirits, and have you in a good mood and ready for that bum rush when you get
Yeah.
home with kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Good advice.
So creating um, a routine, a handoff routine. Even with my babies, I work as a newborn care specialist, and even with my babies, I have a handoff routine.
Yeah.
And we'll count to three and we'll go 1, 2, 3. Here's mommy, or here's daddy, or grandma, or whoever is taking over. And it makes it a fun experience. And then the other person just kind of bounces the baby and they're happy and laughing and whatever. And I was like, okay, I'll see you later. I got all my hugs and kisses and all my little squishies, and I will see you tomorrow. And I'm out the door. Don't prolong it. Rip off the band-aid, because the longer you stay
Yeah.
and have conversations and kissing, hugging, they'll be like, okay, no, I don't want to stay with this person. Come here, come here. You stay too long. Come back
Yeah.
to me.
I mean, that advice is brilliant, because when I used to teach the first grade of school, which is called reception here in the UK. And I used to tell the mums, they'd be doing all this weeping, the children and all that. The mothers would be weeping, and shall I leave? Shall I not leave? And yet, when the mothers just did a love and goodbye, and we'll see you soon and back soon, and then they would go, before the parents even walked up the steps to the path, the children were fine. But those that dragged it on, that dragged it out, they made it worse, and the children just, got themselves distressed and in a mess. So yes, recognise there is a transition period for handing over from mum or dad from the nanny, and as you say, make it like that, even with some fun music or some fun love and and then off you go. And I think that helps that transition, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. I used to work in preschool, and it was like the longer they stayed, wah, 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 ah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, please, in the back of my mind, I'm like, just go,
Yeah.
because the longer you stay, it's
Yeah.
going to drag out, and they're going to get more and more upset, and that just ruins their whole day, because that's what they're thinking about. The first thing that happened this morning, mama abandoned me.
Oh,
Now, it may not come across to you that you abandoned them, but in a child's mind, mama left me. And
yeah.
she left me here somewhere I don't want to be. I want to be at home playing with my toys by myself, where I don't have to share with anyone. And I had a 4-year-old tell me this. He was, and I know he was able to share his feelings, because that's what his mom and dad did with him. They shared feelings. How does that make you feel? I don't like when you do this. And they used their words with him. And this 4-year-old told me, I feel abandoned. And I'm like, how do
Oh,
you know that word? And how do you know what it means?
big word.
But he told me that he doesn't want to be here. He wants to be at home. He doesn't feel like playing with everybody else today. He wants to be at home with his, and he was very expressive. And when you linger and try to talk it out and just walk away, Hello, good morning. How are you? Let's sign in. Okay. Any special instructions? All right. Say goodbye to mommy. All right. Bye-bye. See you later. We'll see you this afternoon after nap time.
Yeah.
And they know mommy's not coming to after nap time. So we are going to enjoy our day. And after nap time, in snack time, mommy's going to come back
And,
after.
and the only thing I do say to parents at that sort of level as well is, and for you, the same with Nanny, be on time. Because that whole thing where you're waiting, you're not sure, they're kind of hanging around, that causes anxiety. And sometimes I used to say, I'll be back in 3 programs of Barney, 3 episodes of Barney or whatever it is you're watching.
Right.
And children get the idea there's time involved in it. But
Right.
definitely do come back on time and don't let a child wait for you, because they don't understand that. And that creates anxiety around those transitions that really they don't need. They need to have that consistency, and that idea of transition is safe. Everyone isn't rushed and nobody's stressed, and it's done easily, like you said, quite matter of factly, actually.
Right. And then they're not acting out, excuse me, they're not acting out throughout the day because they're stressing out about mommy's not here yet. Yes. And why it's because right after nap time, they know, they're like, okay, so when is mommy's coming? When is mom? And you can see them watching the door. Every time somebody comes to the door, they're like, and they are looking for mom and dad to come. And if that's what time you promised them they were going to come, you were going to come, please be there. Or please contact the nanny, please contact whoever, the daycare or whatever, and let your child know. If you know your child has these anxieties, then let the child know. Give them, so the director, the daycare worker, the nanny can explain to the child, mommy had an important meeting, but she told me to tell you that she's thinking about you and that she'll be a little bit later. And it'll probably be after you finish with your snack and finish playing with your blocks before she gets here. So she needs a little bit more time. Can you give her a little bit more time? And explain to them in their language so that they can understand it and not make it, okay, your mama's running late.
Yeah, and don't have that judgment in your voice either.
Right. Your mama's running late and she'll be here when she get here.
Yeah, that's the 3rd time this week she's been late, and you just don't need that stuff.
Yeah, the kids don't need it. Now, if it's going in your head, don't let it come out your mouth. I'll tell my kids, whatever's going in your head does not necessarily need to come out of your mouth.
Yes. Yeah.
And the same with, scrolling on Facebook. I tell the nannies, just because you think it and just because you see it and you want to retaliate with no, just keep scrolling.
Yeah.
Just keep scrolling, because everything, if you're not being a part of the solution, don't be a part of the problem. And don't put down your sister just because she does not know. And if she does not know, give her advice so she will know the next time.
Yeah.
And write it in such a way that it is constructive and meaningful, because nobody, when you start yelling, all they hear is wah, 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 wah. Nobody wants to be yelled at, especially if they don't know and they're hurting and they are disappointed and frustrated. That doesn't help. Help me means I'm seeking information. I need you to help me. So, help.
So Angela, tell me this, what else do you say to nannies when they say, oh gosh, we've got this problem that the child is preferring me to mum or me to dad? What other examples have you got, and what do you suggest?
I have suggested that you be consistent.
Yeah.
Consistency means when that you perform that routine, be consistent. Don't go from day to day wishy-washy, because children get enough of that in other areas of their life. They need some consistency in their life. They seek consistency. Also, be communicate with your parents. Mm-hmm. How do you want to handle this? I notice little Johnny is doing this, and this. How do we handle this at the end of the day? Because he's consistently doing this, and this, and we need to cut back on that. We need to figure out a way to consistently have a joyful, at least partially joyful ending to our day. If I am going to create a routine and I'm going to give him a countdown, then when you come in, I need you to have an activity ready to go, or have something special for them to do, or have listen to their come ask them about their day, what they did today, and listen to them. Don't just listen while on your phone communicating back to the office that, okay, I'm home now, if you need me I'll be available and whatever. Do that in the car. Do that in the car. If something is going on at work and you need to tell them, I need at least an hour to get past this hump with my child, and I will get back with you. I'll be available again at such and such time. And then turn your phone on silent so you won't be tempted. Leave it in your purse, hang your purse up so you won't be tempted to hear that ding. And you're like, okay, hold on a minute, sweetheart. Let me answer this phone email from work. You've been at work all day. They haven't seen you all day. They want a chance to tell you all about their day. And it may not make sense to you. They may say the same thing 3 or 4 times, but it was important to them. And in order for them to feel important to you, they need to know that they have your attention.
Yeah.
And because I can even tell you how many times I listen to the same story all day long. And each time it's a laughing moment. Each time it's, oh, I'm so sorry you feel that way. I try to get kids in tune with their feelings and use words to talk it out instead of a temper tantrum. And I let them know it's okay for you to be upset. It's okay for you to be mad, because telling them stop that crying, why are you pitching a fit? Why are you having a temper tantrum? That's not helping. Be understanding. Extend some, as I like to say, extend some grace, because you know when you get upset, you're an adult and you know how to handle it. And sometimes we go off the handle and we don't handle it. Extend some grace to that child and say, I know that you're upset. I know that you feel sad, or you feel angry, or you feel you are feeling frustrated because you can't get this block to stay on. How about we try it a different way? How about we do this? How about we do another activity and we'll come back to this after nap time? Because usually at that point they're tired or they're hungry or something is going on that has frustrated them or made them mad. So I suggest that we do something totally different. Redirecting them and refocusing on something else usually helps to calm them down. At the end of the day, when mom and dad are getting ready to come home, have something fun going on or some calming activity going on so that when they get home, they're calm or they're having fun, and it's not a stressful transition of, oh man, I can't do this. I'm frustrated about this. I'm frustrated about that. And then they transfer one frustration and mom and dad come in the door and they're frustrated and you got them banging heads. So somebody has to be that reasonable one that says, okay, let's do this and let's have fun and let's calm down. Read stories.
Yeah.
I like to read stories, and I like to put voices with the stories, and the kids love the voices, and I'll have them to repeat the voices or their favorite books, or I'll let them read the book to me. Let them make up a story. It may not even be the same story. They see the pictures, let them read the words, let them talk. Get out the frustration. You find out a lot of things about kids when you let them express themselves. I let them read a book, especially 4 and 5-year-olds.
So listen, what I want to ask you is then, mums have jealousy, so they're jealous of the nanny. What do you say to the nanny to handle that? Because it is a natural kind of a thing. They do miss sometimes those magic moments, perhaps of those milestones of first words or first steps or whatever. that may happen. What do you suggest? I mean, I know have things that I talk to parents about, but what do you suggest with the nanny that the mum has these jealous feelings, of course? So how does she handle the mother, do you reckon?
Again, communication. Talk to mom and see how they feel. Just like you talk to the kids and say, well, it makes me feel angry when, talk to the mom. How do you feel about this?
Mhm.
I know that it must be hard for you. I know there can be, feelings of resentment, or I understand that you have to go to work and that you have to do what you need to do to take care of your children. That's why I am here. I'm not here to take your place. I am here to take care of your child just as you would while you're gone. Not this is, I realize this is your child, this is your family. I am here to help you. How can I help you past this point of like ill feelings, or past the point of resentment, past the point of the way you're feeling begrudgingly leaving your child because this is the bond between us. I don't want to break the bond that I have with your child because I feel like it's stable. Wow. Allergies. I don't want to break the bond between me and your child,
Yeah.
but I also don't want your child to see that there's a rift between you and
Yeah.
I. And
Attention. Yeah.
yes, because I want them to be relaxed because they're in their home, and I want them to enjoy me while I'm here, but I also want them to enjoy you while you're here.
Yeah. Because
I
I call it the we team. It's, we're in this together. And often when I'm working with parents around this issue, I say, let's get a photo of Joe and put Joe on the table so that the photograph is quite a good reminder about how can we work together to build bridges, not walls between us. This is not a competitive sport here, who's the most popular.
right,
Let's look at understanding each other, understanding the child, so that there's no point in getting angry about this stuff because she's doing a great job and you hired her to do that job, to be the surrogate parent and do a wonderful job. So that for me it's the we team, and even the little reminder of jokes and smiles and say, hey, we're in this together, we're the we team, often sitting down and talking around some of the little trigger points for the mum. And you're not a therapist, the nanny's not there to be the therapist
right,
for the mother. However, recognizing there may be those moments of jealousy or guilt or resentment or disappointment she's not around for those magic moments or those funny bits in the day. But I think if you build up that relationship, you talk about communication all the time, I really agree. Communicate, communicate, communicate. Listen, listen, listen. But just that very simple thing around having the child at the center of whatever you're doing, and having that intention to be a team and not in competition with each other, I think takes down all that sort of anxiety and tension within the home, because you don't want that kind of stuff. It's not good for anybody if you're working in that kind of tense environment, is it?
right. And also, it will help the parent if you show them some of the routines that you do during the day.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
without patronizing, because sometimes
yes,
obviously the nanny has more skills, let's be honest, a lot of childcare skills, but without patronizing or making it obvious, doing something well, and the parent can notice what the nanny is doing that works and that is very successful with the children, can actually mean that the mother and the father might carry that on at the weekends when the nanny maybe not there. They think, oh, it works with nanny if they're not being silly, and they're kind of analysing what's going on, because they can learn so much from a nanny, can't they?
right. And it helps when mom and dad are not so serious, as you put it, and become a kid, become one of them, act silly, make silly voices, do silly songs, make up songs. My mom always taught me to have a song in my pocket.
Yeah,
So I always have a song, and I've had parents say, "Where did you get that song?" I said, "I just made it up." I just made it up. And I sing this song from the Wizard of Oz. about the what is it? Wake up, wherever you are. Come see a young lady who fell from a star. She fell from a star. She fell very far. Well, I use my own tune, and when they wake up from nap, I sing that song, and I include their name, and I say, and John is, they say, is the name of that star. Wake up, John, wherever you are. And I have one little baby who just loves that song, and every time they sit there and they laugh and then they put their head back down and they wake up, it's like, okay, sing it again. They lay back down and they get back up. So I sing the song, sometimes it's like singing it 3 times, and they're like, oh, I say, okay, it's time to get up. I'm like, okay, I can't sing this song one more time. So I will teach the parents and say, well, I tried this on, during the day, and this works for me. I will write it down for you, or I will record it for you. I said, don't listen to my voice because I'm not the greatest singer, but this works for me during the day.
But listen, Angela, you're a very experienced, mature nanny, and with such a lovely aura and such a lovely way with you. How does that how do you teach a young, less experienced nanny, who is younger, obviously, than the parents, to have that confidence to be able to teach them or show them or give them good practice? What do you say to young nannies?
Well, first of all, there's a difference between confidence and arrogance.
Oh, yeah.
And learn the difference between the two.
Yes.
Be professional at all times.
Yeah.
Don't try to shove your opinions up on the parents, because if it's not asked, or if you see something going on, and don't interrupt at that moment and say, well, why don't you try this, or why don't you try that?
Yes.
Just let them handle it, because when you interrupt them doing something with their child, and them trying to get them to do something with their child, it undermines their authority.
Yes.
Support the parents.
Yes.
Don't undermine the parents, because to you, it seems like, well, I'm just trying to help. No. Trying to help translates you're undermining my authority to them. Wait until there's, it's over with. Wait until it's a happier time, and say, well, you remember when little Johnny did so and so and so, and you went this way? I said, tell them,
I just wondered.
I try this or I try that, and it seems to work well.
Yeah.
And
because the language is important there, isn't it?
Yes, it's very important about the language that you use, so that you won't seem like I know better than you.
Yes.
Or I'm the authority on childcare. You're just a new mom. Don't do that. Watch your language and watch your tone. What you're saying, your language could be all sunshine and beautiful words, and I can tell you, oh, little Johnny did so and so and so today, and he was so proud of himself. Or you can say, well, little Johnny did so and so and so that I taught him how to do that, and it was that right there
is no good.
It's not. You may say he learned this, but your attitude and the way your delivery is has everything to do with how mom perceives it.
Yes.
A lot of nannies are not moms, and I'm not saying that they don't understand what moms go through, and they don't understand the perception, but those hormones, oh my gosh, especially with new moms. And believe me, postpartum does not stop at 6 weeks checkup. It does not. Postpartum can go on for a year.
Oh yeah, it can go on. Yeah, sure.
And so what you say to that mom, be very sensitive in your words, be very kind, and be very authoritative with your words, because if they see you as I'm the this, I'm the that, I'm the this, I'm the that, no.
Yeah.
As a newborn care specialist, I have parents, when I suggest things to them, that's all I can do is suggest. Okay, what do you suggest we do this? They're having this problem, what we do? Okay, so I would do this, 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 and this. Now, how would you like to handle it? A lot of parents, no, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want to do it this way. I want to do it that way. You're the parent. We do it your way. It's hard to do it the parents' way because you know that the baby would benefit so much more if we just start now and nip it in the bud instead of waiting 4 or 5 weeks when they become more and more aware of what's going on, and then they train you instead of you training them. But bottom line, they are the parent. You're there to help. They hired you to help, not to run the household. And even household managers that help run the household, it's still the final decision is up to mom and dad. So you have to be respectful of that, even though you don't agree with that. And if it gets to the point where what they're doing with their child is not in line with what you believe in, and you think that they're going to hurt their child and it's going to be blamed on you, then it's time for you to leave that job. It's time for you to respectfully say, I have done all I can do here, and I just don't feel like this is a good fit for me anymore. And you leave the job respectfully. You don't go in and say, well, you won't do what I told you to do, so I'm leaving. That won't get you anywhere. Be respectful, be professional at all times, and don't leave in a text message.
No. Good advice, Angela.
No, I'm just saying, it bothers me when I sent a text message and told mom I was leaving.
Yeah.
I sent a text message and told them I was,
I know. I see it on the different Facebook pages sometimes when nannies are talking to each other, and you think, oh, that's not really the best way to do that.
right. So I may be old fashioned and they may see me as, oh, she's an old fuddy duddy. She doesn't know. Well, I didn't get to where I am now.
No, I think it's the opposite, Angela. I think it's absolutely wonderful advice, and people would be mad not to listen to you because you come across as so warm and genuine, but also so experienced, and you've got a wealth of stories, a lovely way of doing things. So, nannies listening to this now, if they're watching it, do you have any other places that they can find out more about that kind of thing, or where they can talk together? I know if people are interested in my articles, they can go to my blog on thesueatkins.com and have a look at all the stuff that I've done for nannies. I've got webinars and stuff for them, and master classes and articles and blogs. Do you host these things how often? Once a week?
I do Ask the Nanny once a week and sometimes twice a week, like this week. And when I have something special or someone that I'm interviewing that's overseas or in another part of the country and our times are conflicting,
Yeah.
I make a special arrangement, and I post it on my page so that you can go and watch the replay. I
Right.
have most of my Ask the Nannies on replay on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/C/The Third Parent Academy. I will post it in the comments at the end of this show. But you can watch those also on my YouTube channel. There are read aloud children's books that are illustrated that I've read online. I have a lot of people who I have no clue who they are. I go and I see 700 people have read this book. I'm like, what? Whoa. So I love, that's one of my passions, literacy. Yeah. Is one of my passions. And I love taking children's books and reading them aloud and creating funny voices and putting music behind it, funny little music so the kids, because music changes the atmosphere.
Yeah, it changes everything. It can lift your spirit. It can make you sad, but it can make you joyous. It's a wonderful thing, isn't it? Music.
Yes.
Love it. Yeah.
Right. And I also add recipes on there, little simple.
I bet you do. I've been following you on Facebook, and I see those wonderful things you put
Yes.
up.
I
I
add, I add simple recipes because I know every mom is not a chef.
That's
And
good.
every mom is not, oh, it has to be organic and it has to be grass fed, whatever the case may be. I know we were not raised on that. I mean, we were raised on farm. My grandfather had a farm. We lived right around the corner, so we got a lot of our vegetables from the garden. It doesn't have to be organic. Yes, organic is good. I'm not saying that it's not, but every parent does not have organic everything on their shelves. They don't have it on. And some people, yes, they eat meat. Yes, they eat. No, they don't eat meat. So I try to include a lot of different recipes that are simple. They're snacks for the kids, things that you can do with the kids, uh,
Yeah.
things
They're
that you can add.
nutritious.
Yes, things that you
Yeah.
can add to the food that the kids won't even know is there. And you're
Yeah.
giving them vegetables, and they're like, "Oh, mom, this is so good." Yes, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I have those on there, and I also have things for kids, activities, science projects, art projects, things that you can create with the kids for the
Yeah.
kids to like alphabet soup. I took some colored noodles, threw them in a bin, took some little ABCs, some little the little foam ABCs. We have alphabet soup. Give them a ladle, give them a bowl, let them create some alphabet soup, create rice confetti, things like that. All those things are on my page so that you all can go and visit and leave a review, leave a comment if it worked for you, if it didn't work for you, what you would add to it, what you would take away. I listen and I read all of these comments. So if you want to see the archives of Ask the Nanny, it's on the YouTube page, or you can go to my Facebook page. But sometimes Facebook it stalls, so you have to scroll and scroll and scroll, and then
Yeah.
wait and wait and
I
wait and
know.
scroll
I
and
yeah.
scroll and scroll.
Yeah.
So just go to the YouTube page, and I have them categorized so that if you want the children's book, you go into the children's book. If you want the recipes galore, go into recipes galore. If you want the science and children, there are parks and things on there that I have visited and I've taken pictures, and visit the parks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's all
And
on.
I'm not very technical, particularly. We've had problems with Facebook, so include me. The Sue Atkins Parenting Expert is my page, and
Yeah.
there's a Sue Atkins profile page. So whichever one you want, link it up. But if people or nannies watching this, if they're interested in my work, my podcasts, or my webinars, or my masterclasses, go and see thesueatkins.com. Include me, Angela, in all the stuff that you do, because I don't always get how to add it with the science and all the technology, but do that too, because we're all here to support
Yes.
and help each other. No one is doing this perfectly. Nobody has all the answers, but if we can work together for the good of the families and the good of the kids and the good of everyone, then that's my intention, and I know it's yours too. So thank you for inviting me on to talk today, and let me know when you put it live and include me in it so I can share it in my newsletter, because that comes off, I don't always know how, Angela, my VA, doesn't know how to grab it sometimes. So just give me links and stuff, and then I can spread it in my newsletters and in my social media, on Twitter and all these sorts of things. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you all for joining us and listening to this webinar. And we will see you all soon.
Bye-bye. Have a good evening. Have a good
Bye.
day.
Have a
Bye.
good day. Bye.